Yeah. Okay, so we're doing. You weren't here yesterday, right, Pinchas? I don't think you were here. I don't hear you. Are you?
I seem to remember being here.
Oh, okay. Maybe you are here.
Wait, what
All
do I
right.
know?
I don't know either. Okay.
Maybe I wasn't here.
Okay. We started yesterday on page 212, the fourth enticement, avoiding flattery. Camilla says reverse psychology, where the Yetzirah tries to tell you you don't want to do anything that people are going to think you're a tzaddik. You don't want to go down that line. So by that method, he tries to get you not to serve Hashem. So let's just do it quickly on top of the Yitzhar gives up, despairs of enticing you with what we've learned until now. He'll try to entice you by getting to forsake flattery. He'll say to you, that your avodas Hashem can't be considered true avodas Hashem, life shalom, until you totally distance yourself from any type of flattery, any type of praising from people. And the only way you'll be able to avoid this flattery is if you hide all your actions. You can't do anything that people see. And show them the opposite of what you really have in your heart towards these maisim. Because at the spalel, for example, when you daven, even though you want to daven with kavanah, but you don't want in any way to fall into the trap of being flattered. So katzer, make it short and quick. And don't show any desire for the davening, efforts in your tefillas, because you don't want people to be flattering you. And if you want to learn Torah, hide away somewhere. Nobody should see you learning, that no one knows, besides Hashem. Which on one hand is a good thing, but on the other hand, what it's going to cause is that you're not going to learn. But the type don't show any good mitos. Rather, express laziness, kvedos, lethargy, when you do mitzvahs. Because you don't want that you should get a good name and lose your reward for your mitzvahs, says the Yetzirah. So you got to do it in ways that people are not going to realize. But the Tzav don't teach people to do good. Don't teach them stay away from bad. Don't let anyone know your wisdom. Don't teach it to others. Let's talk about Torah. So we know signs that you're a Yorei Shamayim, and not show any signs of that you're serving Hashem. In order, people should not give you honor. In order to perfect your avoidance, be perfect in not being flattered. You You should associate from the Lashon of Reya with all types of people. And act as they act. Take on their actions, their customs. To say that with Achayim, go in their ways. About truth and humor. You have to act like they act, even though it might not be right. But you don't want anyone to think that you're good. You're hiding it all. Don't be so careful about lying and swearing. Join them in their parties, their riddles, their games, empty activities, excessive joke telling. And recalling derogatory things about people. Do anything to avoid getting a reputation that you're a Polish, that you're a tzaddik. Eitzel anoshav. V'im tishma loy b'zeh yishol v'mchad munaska v'loy targish. He says, and if you fall for this, says the haLevavos, you listen to the Eitzel, you buy into this, he's going to rob you of all of your emunah, your belief in Hashem, and you won't even realize. In fact, I assume you'll be thinking that you're doing a wonderful thing and you're a big Yerush. But if you're able to say, should not, right? If this is how you respond to this Yetzirah, right? You have been helping my enemies by taking up arms against them. You've helped my enemies by fighting me. And by devising schemes against me, to destroy my power, my strength, and hasten my downfall. How could I run? How could I flee from a small fire into a big fire? Because looking for comfort, looking for flattery is a small fire, which the Yitzhak is trying to get me to avoid. But by doing that, and listening to you, I'm jumping into a bigger fight. Because what you're telling me is much worse. When I listen to you, I run, I flee from the love of fame and glory in order to avoid being praised by people. But you're telling me to ingratiate myself with people. I am ending my service to Hashem. Right? I'm running away from covet. I'm running away from glory. But in order to be avoided by being praised by people, but by doing that, I'm abandoning my service to Hashem. So I'm losing. Should I avoid learning Torah in order to be a man who doesn't display his righteousness in his learning? Among my activities, the ones that are suited for concealment, says the Chovos, there are actions that it's correct to do them in concealment. Those that can be performed or completed without anyone knowing. Mitzvahs that I could do and people don't know, that I should do in a way that people shouldn't know. So if I could learn and people shouldn't know, I should do that. But if the other option is that I shouldn't learn so that people shouldn't know, then that obviously is a trap. Avlispal b'tzibo. It says haLevavos, like mitzvahs, like davening b'tzibo. You can't do it. You can't do it alone. Can't done privately. Well, it's always by Toiv and urge people to do good. Well, and to teach them to refrain from wrong. Well, the Moed Chachos teach Torah. Vasas Chesed to do Chesed. V'adoyim anything similar to that. That it's not proper to stop them. Well, also, and avoid doing them and neglecting these things in order that people shouldn't honor me. No, I have here to do it. I have to deal with the covet separately. And I should do this all for the sake of heaven. Kishatasa v'kan nemar, it already says, been said, Tasa Maisa Shiyodin B'Pnei. If you do something that people know about, and you want to determine how pure is my action? Am I doing it people are seeing, or am I doing it because it's the Shem Shamayim? So he says there are two tests. How I could litmus test to know if my actions are pure or not. Because here he's saying that the Yetzer Hara tries to get you not to do it. So it gets you not to do the mitzvah because people are going to talk about you and say what a wonderful person you are. But he said that's wrong because all it's accomplishing is that you're not doing the mitzvahs. Rather, he says there are two ways of testing. What is the kavanah of my mitzvahs, my actions? Think about your hope of a reward for this act. And from who do you expect to get it? Do some soul searching. I did a mitzvah. Think, what do I want to get from it? Am I planning on getting schar from Hashem? Who's shalom? Then your motive is pure. But if it's from others, you expect people to applaud you. Ain't Hashem, then you know it's not pure. Person tries to be honest with himself, he could see, is he doing it in a way that people should see him? People should say, oh, he's doing it. No, he's doing it just because it's a mitzvah. You have to take a good look at your actions, but not to stop doing them. That's what the Yetzer Hara wants you. He wants you to stop doing it. And the second test is to take them in Afshacha. Consider that if you were alone, would you do the act in the same manner? For example, would you say Berachas Hamazon with the same enthusiasm with which you're saying it now in the presence of many people? How would you make the brachas if no one else was listening? And if it comes clear to you, comes clear to you that you would do it the same exact way as if nobody was there, then you know your act is Shem Shamayim. And if this test shows that your motive is doing the act is pure, so do a lot of it. But if you do less in private, let's say you would bench more quickly, then let it go. In public, don't demonstrate anything at all until your heart becomes pure to the devotion of Hashem. Now, he's not v'im. If you'll do this, the Yetzer would be defeated. And says Ravilla, but it doesn't mean that it retires on the battlefield. On the contrary, we'll come up with a more insidious way, and we'll get to that. But it doesn't mean, it can't mean to say that if you realize that you're benching with more kavanah because people are listening to you, so you should do it, let go, don't do it, hanicheu, and not bench, because you're chayiv to bench. What it means is saying in an honest way, bench it in an honest way.
I think I have a pircha, Rabbi, or a question at least.
Yeah.
What about learning? We know Shalol Lishma Ba Lishma. The guy gets a good feel, everybody sees how fast he chuckles, he's learning. he goes to night Seder or whatever. Because, he knows at home he's not going to learn.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
think this. I think it absolutely. I mean, the Gemara tells us that's the way you have to do it. You have to do it, but then I guess you should just be aware that you're doing it loy lishma, and hope for the lishma. But you can't be saying you shouldn't be doing it. So because that's the Yetzer Hara. That's what he's saying. The Yetzer Hara wants you to do. He wants you not to learn. Oh, I'm doing loy lishma, so I'm not going to learn. It can't be. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's the trick of the Yetzer Hara. So what does he mean over here? You can't not bench. You can't not learn. Like he's saying, you gotta learn. Maybe you could do it in a more private way. Do it in a more private way where the Yetzer Hara where people won't see you benching, perhaps. But I mean, Chazal teach us that when the Gemara says, it means that's the way to get to the lishma. So as long as your intention, you do know that you're doing it. You do know you're doing it with, better because it's in a public setting. But you know that you're doing it because you really want to do it and you want to get to that level. Maybe even using the loy lishma to inspire you. But then you turn it. You turn it to Hashem. You turn it to Hashem. If you're aware of this loy lishma, I think you could turn it at that point. Bench in a better way, but they 1 minute. No, not for the people, for me. That's what it would seem like. What it would seem like to me. Okay, we'll stop here. The next one is a new enticement.